In the grand tapestry of human endeavor, some moments transcend the ordinary. They are not merely events, but catalysts. Points of no return. In the world of football, where passion and pride converge, one such moment unfolded. A play so audacious, so steeped in controversy, that it sent shockwaves across continents. It challenged the very spirit of fair play, ignited a global debate, and, in time, would profoundly reshape the game itself. But what exactly transpired? And how could a single goal carry such immense, lasting power? The year was 1986. The stage, Mexico. The FIFA World Cup, a tournament synonymous with national pride and athletic excellence, was in full swing. Nations battled, heroes emerged, and legends were forged. But this particular quarter-final match carried an extra weight, a layer of historical and political tension that simmered beneath the surface. It was more than just a game, it was a clash of titans, with a history beyond the pitch. Both teams, driven by an unyielding desire for victory, knew the stakes were astronomically high. The air was thick with anticipation. Argentina, a footballing powerhouse, faced England, another storied nation in the sport. Their encounter wasn't just about sporting rivalry, memories of a recent geopolitical conflict still lingered, adding an almost unbearable intensity to every tackle, every pass. Millions watched, holding their breath, unaware that they were about to witness something unprecedented. Something that would define careers, ignite fury, and challenge the very essence of human judgment. The stage was set for an unforgettable drama. Midway through the second half, with the score still deadlocked at 0-0, a moment began to unfold that would forever be etched in history. A hopeful clearance, a flicked header, and then, a sequence of events so swift, so perplexing, it left spectators and players alike in a state of bewildered confusion. The ball, soaring high, seemed destined for a challenge between player and goalkeeper. But what transpired next defied the conventional laws of the game. A blur of movement. A flash. Then, the net rippled. From the stands, from television screens across the globe, the angle of the incident was ambiguous. Was it a header, as seemed natural for a player of his stature, challenging an opponent in the air? Or was there something else? A subtle, yet decisive, intervention that violated the very rules of the game? The initial celebrations were immediate, fervent. But for those on the opposing side, and many discerning viewers, a chilling suspicion began to creep in. A question arose, hanging heavy in the air: what truly propelled that ball into the net? The man in black, the arbiter of justice on the field, stood at the epicenter of this brewing storm. Faced with a split-second decision amidst roaring crowd noise and the intensity of a World Cup quarter-final, his perspective was uniquely challenging. No instant replays, no VAR. Just the raw, unfiltered information available to the human eye. Did he see what countless others claimed to have seen? Or was his view obstructed, his judgment clouded by the speed of play? His nod towards the center circle sealed the fate of that moment, and inadvertently, the future. The fallout was instantaneous. Players from the aggrieved team swarmed the referee, their protests vehement, their faces etched with disbelief and fury. They pleaded, they argued, but their cries fell on deaf ears. The decision was final. The goal stood. A single, controversial moment had ignited a firestorm of emotion, splitting the stadium, and later, the world, into two camps, those who celebrated a goal, and those who saw a blatant injustice. How could such a clear infraction, many argued, go unnoticed by the highest authority on the pitch? Only later, much later, would the truth emerge, not through replays or official reviews, but from the mouth of the player himself. A candid confession, delivered with a wry smile, that cemented the moment's notoriety. He attributed it, famously, to a mix of his own cunning and divine intervention. A goal scored, not entirely by fair means, but by a cunning act that somehow slipped past the gaze of officials. This admission only deepened the wound for some, confirming their darkest suspicions, while for others, it became part of the legend. The goal quickly earned a moniker that would forever define its contentious nature: the hand of God. It became shorthand for a moment of audacious trickery, a deliberate breach of the rules that somehow yielded a legitimate outcome on the scoresheet. The name itself speaks volumes, capturing both the disbelief and the reluctant awe surrounding the event. It wasn't just a goal, it was a narrative, a moral quandary, woven into the fabric of football lore. But what if this moment had been subject to different scrutiny? What if the technology we now possess had been available? Adding a bizarre layer to the unfolding drama, moments later, the same player scored another goal. This time, a dazzling display of individual brilliance, weaving through defenders from his own half, leaving a trail of stunned opponents in his wake. It was a goal universally hailed as one of the greatest ever, a testament to pure, unadulterated skill. This second strike, often overshadowed by the controversy of the first, inadvertently amplified the debate. How could a player capable of such genius resort to such a questionable act? The duality was staggering. The incident highlighted a fundamental tension in sports, the reliance on human judgment in moments of extreme pressure. Referees, despite their training and experience, are fallible. They operate within a split-second window, often with obstructed views, in a chaotic environment. The hand of God wasn't just a miscall, it was a glaring example of how a single human error could alter the outcome of a pivotal match, denying one team a fair chance and propelling another forward under a cloud of doubt. Was it simply part of the game, or a flaw that needed addressing? For weeks, months, even years, the discussion raged. In pubs, living rooms, and newspaper columns, the debate was fierce. Fans of the wrong team felt a profound sense of injustice, a wound that time would struggle to heal. For them, it wasn't just a goal, it was a robbery. For others, it was simply part of football's unpredictability, a moment of cheeky brilliance that added to the legend. This polarization of opinion underscored the emotional depth of the beautiful game, and how deeply a single controversial moment could resonate with millions. While the immediate aftermath saw no direct rule changes solely attributable to this goal, its shadow loomed large over subsequent discussions about fairness and technology in football. It became a canonical example, cited repeatedly whenever the sport grappled with issues of refereeing accuracy. The hand of God didn't invent the concept of using technology to aid officials, but it certainly intensified the argument, making it harder for governing bodies to ignore the growing clamor for more precise officiating tools. A quiet demand began to build. Decades passed. Football evolved. And the clamor for greater officiating accuracy grew louder, fueled by a succession of high-profile, game-changing errors. The memory of 1986 and similar contentious moments served as a powerful reminder of the stakes involved. Eventually, the introduction of Video Assistant Referee, or VAR, became a reality. A system designed to review controversial decisions, including goals, penalties, and red cards, using multiple camera angles and slow-motion replays. Could such a system have prevented the hand of God? The answer, many believe, is a resounding yes. But even VAR has its critics, sparking new debates about the flow of the game, the precision of technology, and the ultimate subjectivity of human interpretation. Yet, it is undeniable that the conversation around refereeing, fairness, and the use of technology in football reached a fever pitch in the wake of that single, infamous goal. It forced the football world to confront its vulnerabilities, to question the purity of human judgment, and to consider a future where technology played an increasingly vital role in maintaining the sport's integrity. The journey wasn't smooth. For Diego Maradona, the architect of that controversial moment, the goal became an inseparable part of his complex legacy. A genius and a trickster, revered for his dazzling skill, yet forever linked to an act of deception. It solidified his image as a defiant figure, someone willing to push the boundaries, even bend the rules, to achieve victory. His status as a footballing deity remained largely untouched for his fans, but for the world, the goal became a symbol of football's raw, often messy, human drama. A beautiful monster, perhaps. The echoes of that summer day in Mexico City reverberate even now. Not just in the annals of World Cup history, but in the very mechanics of how football is officiated. The hand of God goal, an act of sublime mischief or blatant cheating depending on your perspective, didn't just win a match, it opened a Pandora's box of questions about fairness, human fallibility, and the relentless pursuit of perfection in sports. It left an indelible mark, a constant reminder that even in the most beautiful game, imperfection can spark revolution. So, how did this controversial goal change football forever? It wasn't an overnight revolution. Rather, it was a drip-drip effect, a slow erosion of complacency. It cemented the need for greater transparency and accuracy in officiating, pushing the sport's governing bodies towards innovation. It became a reference point, a what-if scenario that haunted countless future matches. The debate it ignited never truly died down, evolving instead into the very framework that led to the technological interventions we see today. A slow-burning fuse. Even today, with all the technological advancements, the fundamental question persists. Should football strive for absolute, clinical accuracy, even if it comes at the expense of flow and human drama? Or should there always be room for the unpredictable, the debatable, the moments that ignite conversation and controversy, even if they sometimes involve injustice? The hand of God forces us to confront this dichotomy, proving that some questions, once asked, continue to echo through the ages, shaping the very game we love. What is the true cost of perfection? Ultimately, the story of this controversial goal transcends the boundaries of the football pitch. It's a parable about human nature, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of victory. It's about the fallibility of systems and the ingenuity of individuals. It is a moment that highlighted the immense power of sports to captivate, to infuriate, and to provoke profound reflection on what we define as fair. A single, disputed act, forever ingrained, continuing to shape the discussion around how we play, judge, and consume the world's most popular sport. The ball flew. The net rippled. The referee pointed. And the world watched, divided. A moment of pure, unadulterated controversy that sparked a debate that rages on, nearly 4 decades later. Was it a stroke of genius, an act of necessary defiance, or a blatant cheat that should have been disallowed? The answer, perhaps, depends on who you ask, and which side of history you stand on. But what is undeniable is its power. The power to change a game, to ignite a planet, and to forever alter the trajectory of football. Its mystery endures.